This is a bonus episode of Away, a podcast for anyone interested in a secular approach to 12-step recovery. I'm your host, Steph Roberts. Hi guys, welcome. It is 9:35 p.m. on Monday, December 17th, 2018. And I wanted to record a really brief episode because I had some thoughts while I was talking to my best friend of 38, almost 39 years, who is currently getting sober and has about a year and a half. And, still has moments when she goes to a party and she doesn't feel as fun as everyone else, and is sort of worried that that will never change or go away, and was asking me when and how that changed for me. And so in talking to her and subsequently thinking about it, it's hard to find a place, an exact moment, a white light moment in my recovery story where it became easy not to drink. It's not just easy to say no, I want to say no. So not only do I not crave it, nor am I tempted by it, I don't want to drink again. And it's annoying when people say this, but even if there was some sort of medication that could promise me, could guarantee that I would never want more than one or two, that I would be satisfied by one or two, I don't think I'd take it. I don't want to drink again. I don't want to feel tipsy. I'm not sure I ever wanted to just feel tipsy, but I don't want to feel tipsy. I don't want to be out of the present, even if the present isn't fun all the time. I have come to believe what many people promised me in the beginning, that even the hardest parts of life are easier when I am not drinking. That isn't to say they're easy, but I so clearly remember the additional anxiety on top of normal anxiety, the additional depression, the erratic moods, the misery, emotional and physical, the horrible physical feeling. I was someone who suffered from very severe hangovers, I think in big part because I was a binge drinker and used a lot of cocaine with it. My hangovers are unforgettable. It was in many ways the physical unbearability as much as the emotional unbearability that really got me to come back to Alcoholics Anonymous. And I genuinely never want to feel that way again. And I really will do anything in my power not to feel that way again. And at this point, it feels like, well, if that's as easy as not taking a drink, fine. Like, if that's the hardest part, that's fucking great. At this point, it is easy. I am so, and I was saying to my friend, I don't know if I have rewired my brain, so to speak, if I've overwritten or created new neural pathways, because I wholly believe that AA without God is a simple, effective, cognitive, behavioral therapy solution to addiction. That is to say, it helps you to replace bad habits or negative behaviors and patterns with better or good habits and better or good behaviors and patterns, which in turn, with enough time and practice, creates new neural pathways in the brain or overwrites the old ones. That's powerful. So the less you behave in a certain way, the less energy your brain devotes to it. So if you're going to feed its pleasure center with more positive things, whether it's through diet or exercise, you're going to feed it with positivity from other sources, it's going to take what it can get from there. And it may feel starved at first, which is when you have the cravings and temptations are harder. But in time, I promise it will change. I cannot promise it will change completely for anyone, of course. We're all unique in this. I do think the more effort you put into the rewiring, so in big part that's step 4 and 5, admitting your defects, damages, problem patterns, bad behavior, and being willing to change them, and then 6 and 7, working on changing them. The more effort you put into that, the easier sobriety becomes long term. That doesn't mean the first couple of years are going to be easy. But what once felt like work becomes second nature and then becomes just your nature. And it's no longer work. I don't drink and I don't care about it. I don't want it. It's hard for me to say that like emphatically enough. And I think in big part, that was, as I said, keeping it green. They say it in the rooms. It's why you go to meetings, so you can remember the bad stuff because you don't want to go back to it. And that's when I often say, and people maybe misunderstand my intent with this, shame is a wonderful motivator. That does not mean become a martyr. That does not mean punish yourself relentlessly for things you can't change that are in the past. It does mean, in my opinion, remember what that feels like. Whether it's the mistreatment of yourself, whether it's the mistreatment of someone else. Clearly, it didn't sit well with you because you probably wouldn't be listening to me now or going to meetings at all if those behaviors felt at all good. So at some point, consciously or subconsciously, you've come to understand that a lot of the behaviors you engaged in, including the drinking or using drugs, including the addictive behaviors in and of themselves, no longer felt good, if they ever really felt good. And ultimately made you feel some kind of negative feeling. Often that's shame. Shame to me is the most powerful, and it doesn't mean like, I'm filled with shame, I must punish myself and hurt myself. No, I've paid my dues in many ways, and I live a really good and decent life now where I try to give back and I try to be supportive, and I am sometimes mean. I was mean to someone today, really unintentionally. My intent was not to be, but I was unkind, and I tried to apologize afterwards. It didn't even occur to me in the moment. It was pointed out. I did try to apologize, but I think it was a difficult one to apologize for, and it's something I just need to work on. But the way it made me feel to know I hurt that person or even just pushed a button with that person, the way that made me feel sucks. And I don't like feeling that way. And I don't think I ever liked feeling that way, but I had a way out of it before. I could just drink my way out of it. The closer I keep that shame, and you can call it something different, the guilt, the discomfort, the embarrassment, the closer I keep those things to the surface, and they just occupy a teeny weeny bit of my brain, But that's what's allowed me over time to genuinely and wholly change. A complete moral, emotional, psychological overhaul. But it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in 90 days. It didn't happen at the end of the steps. It's been happening over the course of the last 8 years. And my hope is that it will continue to happen and that I will become more aware of the hindrances, the patterns of my behavior that cause suffering to me and to others. That's how I understand or my opinion of shame as a motivator. I think especially when you don't have higher power, if you're genuinely going to work a 12-step program without God, it is incumbent upon you to work hard. Because otherwise it is lazy, because you're not even praying. So you have to spend time being mindful and thinking about something afterwards. And if someone has a criticism or comes to you with a feeling, it is your job to acknowledge that and to change it. And that is not always easy work. It gets easier. Apologizing gets easier. And then not behaving in the ways that necessitate apologizing becomes easier. All of it becomes so easy that it no longer feels like an effort. So easy isn't even the word because it's just you. I revealed a little bit of myself. I hope I helped someone else. I certainly hope I helped my best friend today. And it's actually given me more pause to think about how I could better handle the situation today in which I hurt someone's feelings, I think. It was expressed to me as a joke, but I am fairly sure that it was taken a little bit more seriously, and I need to spend some time right now thinking on how I can make the proper amends for that. I hope this was helpful to someone. It actually was very helpful to me. So if you're feeling scared or you're feeling confused or you're feeling alone, I just promise you that together we'll find a way.